Assalamualaikum. Welcome to the Sadaqayon program organized every week by Quantum Meditation Society London. Here, every week, we talk about lessons from the timeless teachings of the spiritual masters of various traditions and the insights from latest scientific inquiry uh, to draw lessons to enrich our own lives. Today, we are talking about the science behind manifesting. In case you are not familiar with the word manifesting, by manifesting, we mean attaining a goal, materializing a goal in any sphere of your life by using specific tools like visualization or vision boards, or in other words, using the power of your mind. The word manifesting became very popular after the documentary The Secret was came out, and then it got picked up, and then it got a new life, becoming when it became super popular in on TikTok and so on and so forth. You may be surprised that it's actually not just a new agey thing. Uh, I, for example, first learned about manifesting almost 30 years ago in the late 90s when I first did the quantum method course. And you may be surprised, but it is something that the spiritual masters were very, very aware of, and they used. And some of them were, as you progress spiritually, you actually become better and better at manifesting to the point when you're super evolved that you can actually just manifest things at a speed that might be unimaginable for us people, for regular people. Anyway, although there's a lot of fascination about with manifesting, but in the scientific community, for obvious reasons, of course, there was also a lot of healthy skepticism or cynicism about manifesting, some of which I would say is quite warranted because of the way some people presented it. It's like you just sit and visualize and suddenly it's there. And that is not necessarily true. There is more to manifesting than that. In the past several years, though, more and more neuroscientists have come out and started talking about how they themselves use tools like goal visualization, which we call monchobi in the quantum terminology, or vision boarding, how they manifest things themselves, and uh, how the tools of manifesting actually takes advantage of how our brain works, how it actually, these tools like goal visualization actually helps our brain work in the optimal way so that we are much more likely to reach our goals. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the things they have been saying there, and sort of draw upon their knowledge of how the human brain works to explain a little further about why manifesting works, and hopefully strengthen your belief so that you can then use the immense power that's been given in you more fully to do bigger and bigger things in your life. Okay, so uh, the based on what I have learned, manifesting seems to affect every layer of our reality. So, what do I mean by the layers? think about it this way. When you are trying to achieve something, right, in your life, some of it depends on how you feel inside. Let's take a very simple goal of doing very well in your exams. Say you want to attain, you want to get into a good school. You have like this goal that you want to get into um, a top rated senior school or top rated college. Now, there are a few elements to reaching this goal. Number one, you have to feel the motivation to do everything that you know you need to do to prepare yourself to the best of your ability for for the tests and the interviews and so on and so forth. So So, whether you will reach that goal or not, in part or in a large part, depends on how you feel inside, how you are able to control yourself. Are you feeling the motivation? Are you able to discipline yourself? Is your brain working well? Um, are you is your brain working well? Are you, when you are studying, are you able to absorb things well? So these are all things that are internal to you. How you feel on the day of the test, whether you are scared or not. So that's number one, right? So in order to attain any goal, you need to create a certain kind of internal environment. The second thing is how other people are perceiving you. Say in your school selection process, there's an interview. You're in your school selection process or your job selection process. So there, in that stage, somebody on the other side has to like you, and it is one of the truths of life that it's better to understand from a young age, is that a lot of success is dependent on you catching the eye of someone who is higher up, who is in a position to help you. Sometimes we resist this, sometimes we say it's unfair, but it is how society has worked, life has worked for a long, long, long time. I'm not saying that you have to do things that are unethical, you have to bribe. No, not like that. It's just someone who has the authority has to look at you and feel like this person can get the job done. This boy or girl will thrive in my very competitive school or in my very competitive college. He or she has the positivity, the discipline, the resilience to thrive in a very paced environment like my school, highly competitive school or college, or my fast-paced job environment. And that they can't come and see how you live your life on a day-to-day basis. You have to communicate that very quickly, right? And it's not just what you're saying that they will base the impression on. So the second thing you need to reach a goal is to be positively influence other people in your favor. Okay. Now, even if you are somebody who is working very hard on your own, you're somebody who finds it easy to impress people, people seem to be impressed with you, you catch the eye of your teachers, of people who meet you, of employers, and so on and so forth. There is a third element, and that is the element of uh, the everything that's beyond you and the people that's you call, depending on your belief system. I call it Allah, you can call it the universe. I mean, I call it the universe too, but depending on your belief system, you may call it the universe, Bhagavan, natural law, God, uh, or any other name. But we will see in life, if you look at it very dispassionately, that not everything is 100% under our control, and there is a factor that we often call luck. You can call it serendipity, coincidence, that when you're way on your way to attaining a goal, at sometimes at some point, you have a like a little bit of luck when you're stuck, like I don't know how to, what will even appear in this test, like the school doesn't reveal it, but suddenly you sort of meet somebody or something who has experience and then is able to share it with you, but it's almost like by luck you you uh, came upon that. So you also need something from the universe. Not everything's under your 100% control. So I think that all three layers are important for reaching goals, reaching especially big goals, because big goals, people don't start out knowing exactly how they're going to reach their endpoint. They do what they can do, but they keep on going. They start with the things they know, and then the rest of the materials, the support appears along the way. So science is now beginning to show how, by starting with yourself, you you can actually um, you can actually affect every layer. So, as we are saying, when we are manifesting, the tool we mostly use in quantum is goal visualization, or some call it just visualization. You fix an intention in your mind that, okay, I am going to get into this college for my undergraduate, say for my bachelor's degree. Okay, so what will you do? If you will start visualizing in your mind, you will go to the meditative level. You will start visualizing that you have already gotten it, right? You are trying to um say you want to go to Oxford. So you will, what will you do? You will visualize maybe getting the letter. Maybe you will Google and see what an Oxford acceptance letter looks like. You will imagine your name on it, and you will visualize that you are in Oxford. And then you may personally visited Oxford, or you've seen it on the internet, and you know the buildings, and you may visualize you're walking. So you are doing that in your mind. So neuroscientists are now can tell us what happens when you start doing it. So the first thing that happens when you do something like that has to do with a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. The reticular activating system. So what does the reticular activating system do? We as human beings every day are bombarded with a lot of various types of information for our nervous system to take in. So it's not just information that you will be reading in the newspaper or learning from a YouTube channel or the news, but also when you are walking on the street, right? Imagine everything that is happening around you. Imagine all the things you're seeing, all the things your you can sense, feel through your sense of touch. Imagine all the different sounds that are going on, all the things you taste, and not to mention what I mentioned first is all the information that is coming at you through the different channels like social media and newspapers and TV and people and so on and so forth. So scientists believe that the amount of information that comes at us in a single day now, 100 years ago, people would probably have gotten that in a lifetime. It would have taken them a lifetime to face the amount of information that we face in a single day. Now, our our nervous system cannot is trying to be efficient, and it does not want all the information that is coming in to come to our conscious mind because it will be overloaded. So the part that I mentioned, the reticular activating system, is a bundle of nerves that is the filtering system of our brain. That system decides what is important and what is not. And what it decides important, it lets come to your conscious mind. Now, if you're not giving it a goal, if you're not visualizing, is very, very powerful because especially when you do it at the alpha level, because it's brain thinks in images, and it gets to your brain and your subconscious mind more effectively. So when you're visualizing and you're feeling what the message your reticular activating system is getting is, this is something important. If you don't give a goal, it will just give it to make, it will just filter in the things that it deems important for survival because it's preoccupied with survival. But when you're repeatedly visualizing and reminding it that this is what it wants, it goes, oh, this is important. This is important. So what it does is anything related to that, it now filters in. Now, suddenly I will challenge you to do this. Like if you visualize about getting a Jaguar, okay? Do it for 7 days, and I challenge you, you'll suddenly realize that there are lots of things related to Jaguars in your environment. There's an advertisement there, there's somebody talking about there, this is this and that. So what's happening is that it's not that those things were not there in your environment before, but your reticular activating system was filtering it out because it did not consider it important. So it was just blending in the background, blending in with the background. But when you give it that goal, it starts picking it from the background and bringing it to your conscious. So like, look, here is this thing, here is somebody, here is this person sail on Jaguar, here's that. So then suddenly you are aware of all the information related to your goal that is in your environment. So that's point number one. That's like it helps you get the information. So that's mostly a change that's it's happening within you, but it's in during the interaction between you and your environment. Okay, secondly, something that the brain does is something called value tagging. The brain prioritizes everything. And again, if you don't give it a goal, it will prioritize the urgent things, the survival things. But if you tell it like it's important, to you every day. Okay, it's important for me to, you want to get married, to meet a potential partner. It's important for me to learn anything about Oxford. Then it will again grab it and bring it to your attention. Okay, so second point is is it will make you comfortable taking action to reach your goal. So here's the thing. You have talked about this many times, but it is something that is very, very important to understand, especially when you want to reach a new goal. This is the reason I believe why people always stay on track. Like if I am a university teacher's daughter, I become a university teacher. If I am come from a business background, I go and pursue business. Why do we do that? Why does that happen? There's nothing wrong with being either a business person or a university professor. They're both wonderful, wonderful occupations. But the way they may be harmful for you is that you may actually be a better fit for something else, or in your God may have given in your heart a desire for something else. But here's the thing, our brain and our subconscious mind, our brain, in today, because we're talking the brain in particular, deems anything unfamiliar as a threat. So if no one that you know has ever been to Oxford, when you think about Oxford, there will be, even if part of you is excited and you want to go, a part of you will be very, very scared. Underlying your excitement, there will be a lot of fear because, again, the brain thinks of anything unfamiliar as a threat. So, the second thing that happens when you are visualizing is that you are making the unfamiliar seem familiar to your brain and your subconscious, right? So, again, the wonderful thing about our nervous system is that it cannot differentiate between reality and something that is vividly imagined. That is why you cry when you see a movie, because your nervous system is reacting to it as if it were the truth. Now, uh, when you're visualizing in a vivid way, walking around the streets of Oxford, attending a lecture, doing a project, talking to people, having dinner together, sitting in the library, being in your dorm, when you're vividly imagining all these things, it starts seeming more and more and more familiar to your brain. So now what happens? Now what happens is when it is time for you to study, the fear is not stopping you. Instead of something going telling you like, oh, okay, later I'll do it, or when the time that the test comes or the time the interview comes, instead of self-sabotaging, which is something a lot of us do when we are close to a goal that is have been beyond what we have previously been familiar with, is is we self-sabotage. Like we do something so that we don't have to attain that goal because a part of us is so scared. So but when you have been doing this day after day after day after day, your brain has at that point accepted that as something familiar, something normal, and it will not activate the fear when you are working for it, when you're getting close to it, and so on and so forth. So, and you can be okay. So that's point number two. And then the point number three is then you're also focused, because a lot of our energy is just it just dissipates because we take a lot of time deciding, going from this may not happen, that may not happen, this will happen, that will happen, that'll happen, that'll happen, or maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll do that, maybe I'll do that. So then your energy is getting dissipated. But when you're visualizing as if it's already happened, it's like you've locked on a goal, and then your all your energy is now going towards that one goal. So let's just sort of recap a little bit. What we said is like your reticular activating system will draw things from your environment that are relevant to your goal. Number two is it will familiarize your goal, attaining your goal, to your subconscious, to your brain, so that that doesn't activate the fear, and then that leaves you free to work fully towards your goal, and it also helps you focus. So those are things that are happening within you. Now let's move on to what's happening between you and other people. Why, when you start visualizing, people's reactions to you start changing. What were previously no starts to, um, you know, eh, um, eh, kind of changes to a yes. So, we think, but or at least let's put it a different way. For a long time, at least when we're thinking scientifically, we've treated people as if we're all isolated islands. Like what happens within us just stay within us, and other people can only interact with us via maybe what we're saying to each other, or what we're doing to each other. But that's actually not true. Today, the scientific community have seen that there are many, many ways in which things that are happening within us are actually going beyond us. For example, like there are biophotons that are emitted from our body all the time. You may not be able to see it, but there are machines that will be able to pick it up. If you have been to, I think this is the Science Museum, you have seen, or other museums, you may have seen uh, infrared pictures of you taken. Like, have you seen those? Like, you maybe your whole family stands in front of that infrared camera, and then they take photos. And in some of you, this part is red, this part is green, this part is yellow, this part is blue. In somebody else, this part is blue, this part is green. What's that there? What is that? That is because of all the metabolic processes that are going on inside our body. Different parts of our body is emitting different types of heat energy. It's heat energy, and that camera can sense the heat. That's a heat sensing camera in different parts of our body, and then it, depending on how much heat is being generated in different parts of our body, it's assigning a different color to that part. That's why something's red, something's blue, and in somebody else it's something. So now again, the metabolic process, the processes in your body are related to the emotions that you are feeling. Now, by far the most important way we reveal what's going on inside us is through the electromagnetic fields we emit. I think that's when you say like people have particular vibes. You know that, right? If I am tense, my children will feel it even if I'm not, like, I don't say a single word, you know. So so that people have vibes. Like, some people have a very happy vibe, some people may have, like, as soon as you sort of come into their presence, you feel like an uplift, whereas other people, as when you're there, you feel kind of disturbed, like there is a kind of a chaotic vibe. So people, if you tune into it, you will see, and especially if you're someone who is meditating, you will be able to tune in to people's vibes more and more and more. And I'll explain why in a second. So that, I believe, is a lot to do with the electromagnetic fields we are creating. So you know that our brain and our heart both work electrochemically, and the our brain activity creates an electromagnetic field around it, and our heart especially creates a very strong electromagnetic field around you that, with the machines that we have, human beings have been able to develop so far, can be sensed, can be detected from, say, a 3 feet sphere around me. So that, remember, that's just depends on the how sensitive the machine is, and then if we develop more sensitive machines, they will be able to maybe detect it from further and further and further away. So the what happens is that um, um, i- scientists have also seen that if someone's heart is in a relatively coherent state, their heart gets influenced by the the ebbs and flows in the electromagnetic field of the people they're in contact with. So say you kind of you are facing an interview, you're facing your interview for Oxford, and you are, you are saying things that are meant to convey your confidence that you can be successful, and you can thrive in Oxford University. You're saying all the right words. Now, if the person sitting in front of you is in a relatively coherent state, they will be able to sense the electromagnetic field. They will be able to sense what kind of vibe you are projecting, because they will feel it themselves, because their heart will sort of, their electromagnetic field will sort of try to synchronize with your field. And just because, I maybe some of you like me find these type of things very interesting. Um, People, like when mothers, for example, they look lovingly at their babies, their hearts, the mother's heart, synchronize with the baby's heart. So they can. That's why mothers are so in tune with what their babies are feeling. Even pet owners, like you love your pet so much, your heart can like synchronize with your pet's heart. uh, if a couple, they're super close, scientists have found that emotionally they're super close. When they're sleeping at night, their hearts are in coherence. Like their hearts have felt how each other are feeling, and they're both kind of feeling the same thing, you know. So we as human beings have the ability. So what happens when you are but inside you feel shaky, inside you're feeling like an imposter, inside you don't really believe, that will be conveyed no matter what your words are. And then that person will feel like, oh, this person is not really ready for this school. Whereas if you're authentic, whatever you are saying, say in your Oxford interview, in a job interview, or maybe you are a business person trying to sell something, right? You are trying to sell a product, and you were saying, no, this is so good, so good, so good, but inside you don't really believe that this thing will be really helpful for the person I'm trying to sell it to. What will happen is they will be failure in authenticity. And very interesting again, there was a big study done in Germany with 25,000 people, I believe. It's called the Spain study, where they measured the frequency of different emotions. And in the study, they found the most powerful emotion in terms of frequency, the highest frequency emotion is authenticity, whether you are being authentic or not. So if you genuinely feel that this product is really good for your client, you're being authentic and you're emitting a very powerful vibration that the other person's heart is then picking up. So they know that, okay, this person is being genuine. They really believe they can do it. They can do it. Okay, yes, you come in. You come into Oxford. You come into my job. Of course, I'll have your product. But if it's not authentic, they will also feel it. So that is why when we visualize, what's happened when we visualize, we are believing, we're making our subconscious believe, we're making our brain believe that this is our reality. This is our reality. I'm an Oxford student. Then, when you're speaking about it, you can speak about with authenticity, which then is picked up by the heart of the other person. Then you start getting a lot of support from your surrounding. So I think what I'll do is like I'll keep it at this for today because we already said a few very important points. One is like how your reticular activating system and your value tagging system is influenced by the visualization. How the when you visualize, it becomes familiar, and then that stops the your brain from activating fear. And then number three, how your vibe is picked up by other people and why that is very, very important to be authentic. So let's keep it at that because we're trying not to prolong our talks too much. And then at some other day, I'll come back and talk to you about the things that the field of quantum mechanics and other types of science have found out about how our vibe interacts with the energy system in the universe. And I personally find it super, 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 super interesting. I hope you will find it too. But no matter how interesting we find it, what's most important is using it in our lives. My guru would say, like you don't need to know how the electrical system works in your house to turn on the switch to light a bulb, right? So what's important is you use it in your life. But sometimes when you know how it works, it strengthens your belief. And since belief is the thing we're trying to create in our life, I thought I would share some of these things with you. Okay, so of course, we're talking about manifesting today. So what we will do is we will do our the future meditation where if you are not already, I will request you, please think about some goals that really excite you, that really stirs your heart, and go for them in your life. Life is really short. It what will do is like it will make sure that your talents and your energy are being used for yourself and others, and not really dissipating. So when it's time to leave this earth, this go to the next phase of the journey, you feel like, okay, I have channeled the things that were given to me into something that is good for me and good for others. Okay, so as always, give me a second and I will turn on the meditation.